The public library that I visited is a city library. It has a service population of 13,498 people. It is a predominantly white community with an average age of 34. Some basic information about this library is that it is in the same building as a civic center. It is a class 4 library. They have 5 full-time staff, 3 part-time staff, and there are 6 board members. The director and children's librarian that I spoke with expressed that a main component of their job is outreach. The children's librarian does outreach to schools, and the director is working on community ties and government entities. The children's librarian spends a lot of her time conducting outreach to the area schools. This includes programming, talking about libraries, and inviting the students to the library. Since the library doesn't have a school district that it strictly serves, the librarian has to spend a lot of time interacting with each of the schools. To me, this creates a sense of competition in order to gain the attention of all the students from the different schools. But it does create a large amount of crossover of users. When I began speaking with the director, the first question I asked her was, what barriers does the library face in the community? Without hesitation, the director expressed that working with the city was the main barrier. Since the libraries run through the city, there are certain things and relationships that are hard to maintain and cultivate. The director feels this way because of past directors and city official relationships. Herself and her predecessor have been building the relationships back up slowly. Next, I asked the director about managing. What was the hardest thing about managing? Is people. With different personality characteristics for every individual on this planet, there will be more than one way to accomplish something. Managers must get to know their staff and manage them in a way that they will accept. Stubborn or uncooperative staff need to understand that they have to get along with the organizational culture or find themselves a new place to work. I also asked the director for some tips on management. The 3 key ones that she gave me were, you are the one to make the decisions and your staff will expect it from you. Learn the culture and learn to associate with it. And finally, remember, in management, you'll be respected and not always liked. The strategic plan is a very intricate thing that this library has to go through, and we learn the theory behind it in school. This library has broad goals in their strategic plan to easily accomplish what they need to do. They don't work on specific goals each year, but they do provide quarterly updates to the library board and staff to always keep them in mind. What is the library doing to improve services? This is where people come in again. The library likes to pay attention to any and all types of feedback that they receive from their patrons. This includes people walking in and out of the library, communicating in other formats, as well as paying attention to what people are checking in and bringing back to the library. This library works really hard to figure out what their community wants. They do this by providing surveys, having a suggestion box on their desk, conducting emails and receiving emails, sending out information in newsletters and e-newsletters, and getting information out to their patrons. Another way that the library is trying to improve their services are providing quality programming. These can include the addition of new programs or the continuation of programs that their community really likes. For example, this library introduced exercise classes as another programming technique, and their community has really come to enjoy it. I really took a lot from this interview because the director had recently become a director. She was similar to my age and had recently graduated from library school. So I felt like I was able to connect with her and be able to get a lot of my questions answered.
Created using Powtoon.